Someone you know, an ordinary person who lived with deep faith, loved people radically, and inspired others to turn closer to God. One day, the world officially calls them a saint. How does that happen? That's the story of canonization. And so you may ask, what is canonization? Canonization is the process by which the Catholic Church officially declares someone a saint, meaning the person is now in heaven and can be publicly venerated worldwide. The word comes from the Greek kanon, meaning rule or standard. To be canonized means the Church recognizes that someone lived such a holy life that they set a standard of faith for all believers. Why does canonization even matter? Well, think of it this way. Saints aren't just people with statues and feast days. They're living examples of how to follow Christ and powerful prayer partners we can actually call on. But then comes the big question. Is this whole canonization thing even biblical? Let's break it down. Hebrews 12:1 tells us, "We are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses." That's not just poetry. It means the saints are literally in the stands, cheering us on as we run our race of faith. Revelation 5:8 gives us another clue. The elders in heaven are offering up the prayers of the saints before God. Translation: intercession is happening in heaven. It's real. And then there's Matthew 16:19, where Jesus hands Peter the keys and the authority to bind and loose on earth and in heaven. That's the Church's green light to officially recognize who lived faithfully and can be honored as a saint. So canonization isn't just some church tradition, it's actually grounded in Scripture. It's about pointing out those who finished strong in faith and inviting us to follow their lead. Alright, so who actually qualifies to be canonized? Spoiler, it's not about fame, followers, or being everyone's favorite saint on Instagram. Canonization is serious business, and the Church has some pretty strict boxes to tick. First up, heroic virtue. We're talking about people who didn't just live out their faith, hope, and love. No, they went all in, living these virtues in extraordinary ways that make the rest of us go, wow. Then there's orthodoxy. Translation: they stayed faithful to Christ and the Church's teaching, no cutting corners, no drifting into questionable beliefs, solid through and through. Next, we've got the reputation for holiness. Here's the deal. People around them often already believed they were holy, even before they passed away. Their life spoke louder than any title. And finally, the big one, miracles. Usually, 2 verified miracles need to be attributed to their intercession after death. Think, someone prays through them, and something medically unexplainable happens. Boom, miracle. The only exception? Martyrs. If someone died for their faith, the Church doesn't require miracles for their canonization. So yeah, it's not about popularity, it's about proven holiness, heroic faith, and yes, miracles that stand up even to scientific scrutiny. So, how exactly does someone become a saint in the Catholic Church? Well, it's not just a snap of the fingers, there's actually a fascinating 4-step journey. Step 1. Servant of God. This is when the Church officially opens the case. Think of it like pressing start on the sainthood process. Step 2. Venerable. At this stage, the person's life is investigated deeply. And if the Church agrees they lived with heroic virtue, basically, they walk the talk, they get this title. Step 3. Blessed. Here's where miracles enter the chat. After one confirmed miracle, the person can be beatified, which means they can be honored and venerated, usually in their local region or community. Step 4. Saint. The big one. After a second miracle is approved, the Pope officially declares them a saint recognized, not just locally, but across the entire universal Church. It's a journey of faith, miracles, and recognition, ending in the ultimate victory, sainthood. You might think saints only lived centuries ago, but guess what? Some of them walk this earth in our lifetime. Take Saint Oscar Romero, canonized in 2018. He was the Archbishop of El Salvador, who stood up for the poor and boldly spoke out against violence, even when it cost him his life. Then there's Saint John Paul II, canonized in 2014. He wasn't just a pope, he was a world traveler, a spiritual rock star who inspired millions everywhere he went. And who could forget Saint Maria Faustina Kowalska, canonized in 2000. This humble Polish nun gave the world the Divine Mercy devotion, a message of God's endless love and forgiveness. And right now, everyone's talking about Blessed Carlo Acutis, the teenage computer whiz from Italy who used the internet to spread devotion to the Eucharist. Many believe he's on the fast track to sainthood, and honestly, it's only a matter of time. So, canonization sounds super Catholic, right? Well, mostly yeah. But what about everyone else? Let's break it down. The Orthodox Church? They've got their own version, called glorification. Think of it as their way of saying, this person really lived the faith. Saints like Saint Seraphim of Sarov? Yep, officially honored. Now, the Anglicans are a little different. They don't exactly canonize, but they do keep a calendar of holy men and women, kind of like remembering spiritual all-stars throughout history. Methodists and Protestants? Totally different vibe. They actually believe that all believers are saints straight out of 1 Corinthians 1:2. But they still look up to faithful Christians, people like Martin Luther King Jr., as powerful role models, even if they don't call them saints with a capital S. So yeah, different styles, same goal, honoring lives that inspire faith. Why canonization still matters today. Canonization isn't about putting people on a pedestal. It's about showing that holiness is possible in every age in families, workplaces, schools, even online. Saints prove that Christianity isn't a distant ideal, but a lived reality. They remind us that ordinary people, with struggles and failures, can become extraordinary with God's grace. So, canonization is the Church's way of saying, here is a life worth imitating. From biblical roots to modern saints, the process bridges heaven and earth, reminding us that holiness is not for the few, it's for everyone. If this inspired you, imagine how much deeper we can go together. Subscribe to this channel for more clear, relatable Catholic explanations, inspiring saint stories, and faith-filled content that makes spirituality simple. And let me ask you this, which saint inspires you most, and why? Drop your answer in the comments, and let's start a conversation.